every year. The Oscars get a few things spectacularly wrong. We're calling out 10 Best Picture choices the Academy should have swapped. No apologies, no rewrites. If you're tired of gold going to the wrong film, let's set the record straight. The Academy played it safe in 2011, choosing tradition over a film that quietly defined a new era. The King's Speech, all polished drama and period detail, gave voters something familiar. Colin Firth with a crown, wartime pressure, and a story of personal triumph framed in royal decorum. It's dignified, well-made, and ultimately unchallenging. But The Social Network offered something sharper. Fincher and Sorkin's collaboration zeroed in on the moment power stopped wearing a suit and started writing code. Every scene is controlled, restless. Reznor's score pushes beneath the surface, and Sorkin's dialogue cuts with precision instead of sentiment. This isn't just the story of Facebook. It's a look at how modern influence is built, through competition, isolation, and carefully crafted public images. A film about connection, made in the language of detachment. More than a decade later, it still feels current. It's shaped the tone and structure of nearly every tech-focused drama that followed. It's quoted, studied, and still argued over. The Academy awarded it in the margins, score, editing, screenplay. But the main prize went to comfort, not insight. Today, The King's Speech feels like history. The Social Network still feels like right now. Crash is the only Best Picture winner since 1990 that most people can't even remember watching. Meanwhile, I Wish I Knew How to Quit You became one of cinema's most haunting declarations of love and loss. Paul Haggis's Crash seduced voters with a multi-threaded Los Angeles tapestry about race and redemption. Oscar bait wrapped as social commentary, it let voters feel progressive without risking any real discomfort. Importance without artistry is just empty virtue signaling. What the Academy passed over was genuinely revolutionary. Ang Lee turned Annie Proulx's short story into a visual poem that redefined masculine vulnerability. Those Wyoming landscapes became characters, vast and unforgiving as the society that rejected Jack and Ennis. Lee's patient direction let silence weigh more than speeches, capturing the ache of words never spoken. Brokeback Mountain didn't just tell a gay love story, it dismantled the myth of the stoic cowboy, revealing the agony of loving someone you can't have. Not identity politics, just the universal pain of impossible love wrapped in an American tragedy. Culturally, Crash spawned parodies and think pieces on heavy-handed messages. Brokeback opened doors for LGBTQ+ stories. Without it, there's no Moonlight, no Call Me By Your Name, no path for films that followed. It holds an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, while Crash has aged like milk at 74%. Directors Guild, BAFTA, and Golden Globes all crowned Ang Lee. Hollywood knew which film mattered, except when it counted. Sometimes the Oscars choose safety over soul. Rarely has it cost cinema this much courage. The Oscars handed Best Picture to a romantic comedy in 1999, while Saving Private Ryan redefined what war looked, sounded, and felt like on screen. Shakespeare in Love, directed by John Madden, charmed voters with literary flirtation, lavish sets, and a wink at playwright lore. It's clever, polished, and helped by Weinstein's now infamous campaign blitz. But clever fades. Sentiment softens. And this one aged like a prop wig in storage. Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan hits like artillery. The 27-minute Omaha Beach opener wasn't just filmmaking, it was a full-body experience. Handheld chaos, desaturated color, sound that slices through you. It didn't show war. It immersed you in it. Its themes cut deeper: sacrifice, duty, the weight of survival. Ryan asked what one life is worth. Shakespeare asked if love can hit its cue. The cultural footprint? Massive. Every modern war film, Band of Brothers, 1917, The Thin Red Line, owes it a debt. Even Call of Duty borrowed its language of chaos. It won 5 Oscars, including Best Director, Editing, and Sound, everything but the top prize. Rotten Tomatoes still lists it at 94%, 2024. Veterans called it the closest thing to real war they'd ever seen. Meanwhile, Shakespeare in Love faded into the trivia section. That Best Picture statue? Wrong stage. Wrong show. It belongs covered in sand, echoing gunfire, in Spielberg's hands right there on the beach. In 1995, the Academy played it safer than Forrest choosing chocolates, and cinema's been rolling its eyes ever since. Robert Zemeckis' Forrest Gump is Hollywood catnip, nostalgic Americana, inspirational charm, a sentimental walk through history. Warm and fuzzy? Sure. But decades later, the sweetness feels syrupy, and its earnest tone lands as overly simple, even naive. Now, Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction? Different planet entirely. Its fractured storytelling didn't just bend the rules, it blew them apart. Tarantino's razor-sharp dialogue and nonlinear narrative became instant blueprints for a generation of filmmakers. Pulp dives deep into moral chaos, quirky philosophy, and pop culture-drenched existential dread. Characters debate burgers and biblical vengeance with equal passion. This wasn't just a movie, it was an electric jolt to cinema's heartbeat. Its influence is everywhere, from Guy Ritchie's snarky ensemble crime capers to Nolan's narrative gymnastics. Quotes? Iconic. Soundtrack? Legendary. Legacy? Untouchable. Empire ranks it 9th greatest film ever made, 2021, cementing its place not just in indie history, but film history. Period. Tarantino walked away with a screenplay Oscar, but the best picture miss is Hollywood's eternal facepalm.
My mom always said life was like a box of...
Forget chocolates. Oscar voters should have chosen the Royale with cheese.
They call it the Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
The Academy choosing Dances with Wolves over Goodfellas is like picking elevator music over rock and roll. Nice enough, but painfully wrong. Kevin Costner's sprawling Western epic checked every Oscar box: epic vistas, earnest themes, and an outsider's journey to redemption. It's handsome filmmaking, but 3 decades on, it feels more like a well-meaning history lesson than cinema's sharpest edge. Meanwhile, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas is still crackling with the manic energy of a filmmaker at his absolute peak. From the legendary Copacabana tracking shot to Thelma Schoonmaker's rapid-fire editing, it didn't just reinvent the gangster genre, it supercharged cinema itself. Scorsese plunged deep into mob psychology, exposing the allure, madness, and dark charisma of organized crime. Henry Hill's Twisted American Dream still resonates, inspiring generations of filmmakers. Without it, there's no Sopranos, no Tarantino in full swagger, no stylish anti-hero resurgence. The film hasn't lost an ounce of power. AFI ranks it among the greatest films ever, and nearly every line is iconic.
Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
The Academy's timid choice that year aged poorly, safe sentiment over electrifying brilliance. That Best Picture trophy deserves a spot on Scorsese's shelf, not as consolation, but as overdue recognition for a film that didn't just reflect culture, it transformed it. Look, I love Rocky. Everyone loves Rocky. Directed by John G. Avildsen, Rocky gives audiences exactly what voters crave: a feel-good underdog story, an uplifting soundtrack, and a rousing finish. It's charming, yeah, but decades later? Safe, predictable, cozy. Meanwhile, Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver still pulses with dangerous brilliance. Its haunting visuals, street-level cinematography, and Bernard Herrmann's chilling score rewrote rules on how cinema could feel. Travis Bickle, played ferociously by De Niro, isn't an underdog. He's a pressure cooker built by the American city, a ticking time bomb exposing isolation and urban decay. Scorsese ripped open cinema's darkest corners, forever influencing directors like Tarantino, Fincher, and even Todd Phillips. Quotes like, "You talking to me?"
You talking to me? You talking to me?
became cultural shorthand, echoed endlessly across film history. AFI ranked it one of the greatest American films ever, proving its staying power isn't nostalgia, it's genius. The Academy played it safe, choosing heart over guts, sweetness over grit. But cinema isn't supposed to be safe. That Oscar belongs in Travis Bickle's Twisted Rear View, a lasting reminder that cinema's sharpest truths aren't comfortable, they're unforgettable. Oscar's biggest sci-fi snub isn't from Steven Spielberg or Christopher Nolan. It happened in 1969, and it's borderline criminal. That year, the Academy handed Best Picture to Oliver Carroll Reed's cheerful musical take on Dickens' Orphan Tale. Voters fell hard for upbeat songs and rosy-cheeked kids. Understandable maybe, but watch it now, and the sugar high fades fast. Meanwhile, Stanley Kubrick dropped a cosmic bomb called 2001: A Space Odyssey, and cinema was never the same. With visionary effects that rewrote Hollywood's visual grammar overnight, Kubrick delivered not just a movie, but a philosophical journey into humanity itself. Its storytelling dared audiences to think, really think, trusting viewers to decode cosmic riddles and evolutionary leaps. It pushed sci-fi beyond escapism, laying groundwork for every ambitious genre epic, from Blade Runner to Interstellar. Its imagery is etched into pop culture DNA, HAL 9000's eerie calm, floating astronauts, and that iconic monolith. Directors worship it. Steven Spielberg has called 2001 the film generation's Big Bang. Martin Scorsese lists it among his favorites. And in Sight and Sound's 2022 Directors Poll, 2001 was voted the greatest film of all time, yet the Academy didn't even nominate it for Best Picture. Cinema's own HAL-level malfunction. Today, 2001 towers over Oliver, as an achievement of craft, vision, and fearless storytelling. That Oscar belongs aboard Kubrick's Starship, where cinema itself took an evolutionary leap forward. If you're into calling out Oscar crimes and celebrating the films that actually matter, subscribe to VintageVerse. Sharp takes, lost classics, zero fluff. We don't just watch movies, we settle scores. It's one of Oscar's wildest blunders. The greatest show on earth, often dubbed the Academy's worst ever Best Picture winner, snatched gold in 1953. It's basically Hollywood's version of circus popcorn. Elephants, acrobats, Charlton Heston. Voters ate it up. But watch it today, and the spectacle feels bloated, sentimental, and hollow. Meanwhile, in the dust stood Fred Zinnemann's High Noon, a western unlike anything before it. The clock literally ticks in real time, counting down every tense minute as Gary Cooper faces ruthless killers alone. Innovative editing and lean pacing ramp tension so high you're holding your breath until the final gunshot. But the real power is in its courage. High Noon isn't just about gunslingers, it's a cutting allegory for McCarthy-era cowardice and courage. Blacklisted writer Carl Foreman challenged Hollywood's complicity head-on. It hit a nerve. John Wayne famously despised it, which frankly only proves it mattered. Over the years, the film's grown even stronger. AFI ranks it the second greatest Western ever, and Stanley Kramer called it cinema's most influential morality play. Its legacy? Everyone from Tarantino to Scorsese owes a debt to its gritty, fearless storytelling. Today, High Noon feels as sharp and urgent as ever, while DeMille's circus act is all smoke and mirrors. That Best Picture statue? It belongs in Gary Cooper's trembling hands. High Noon indeed for Hollywood credibility. If you want a clear example of the Oscars playing it safe, go back to 1944, when Best Picture went to a singing priest while a different kind of film changed Hollywood's direction. Going My Way is classic comfort viewing. Bing Crosby as the gentle priest, easing parish troubles with music and kindness. Perfect for wartime America, warm, sentimental, reassuring. But with nostalgia set aside, the story feels lightweight. Across town, Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity quietly reshaped the rules. Venetian blinds divide the shadows. Barbara Stanwyck's anklet is suddenly something dangerous. Wilder and Raymond Chandler adapted James M. Kane's novel with a style that helped define film noir for American audiences. From voiceover confessionals to doomed romance, each shadowed frame and double cross became the blueprint for generations of noir to come. Here, there's no sermon, just complex motives and real consequences. Every line of dialogue lands with intent. It's about desire, money, betrayal, messy and direct in a way Hollywood usually avoided. You see its influence everywhere. Body Heat, Chinatown, Basic Instinct, all owe a debt to this film, a regular on AFI lists, and still recognized among the greatest American films. The Academy chose tradition when it could have honored something daring. Double Indemnity didn't just set the standard for noir, it gave the genre its shadow and its edge. The Academy's biggest blunder didn't happen in the last decade. It's been sitting there, gathering dust, since 1942. That year, the Oscar for Best Picture went to How Green Was My Valley, John Ford's sentimental epic about a Welsh coal mining family. Nostalgia, heartbreak, black and white landscapes, exactly the comfort food voters craved. But the film itself? Lovely, but safe. Today, it feels gentle and quaint, a relic from an age that wasn't ready to handle the sharp edges of cinema's future. Because lurking behind it, robbed blind, was Orson Welles' towering masterpiece, Citizen Kane. A film so bold it practically invented modern cinema. From its groundbreaking use of deep-focus cinematography, placing characters in razor-sharp layers of visual tension, to a fractured narrative structure that demands viewers piece together the tragic puzzle of Charles Foster Kane. But it's not just craft, it's resonance. Citizen Kane dissects power, ego, and media manipulation with a scalpel. It's hauntingly relevant today, maybe even more now than in 41. Critics know it, and the British Film Institute voted it the greatest film ever made for 50 consecutive years. Kane's fingerprints are everywhere. Scorsese's narrative echoes, Fincher's dark ambition, even Spielberg's emotional shadows. It's the cinematic DNA for generations of filmmakers who've shaped everything we watch today. And yet, the Academy chose sentimentality over genius, familiarity over revolution. They played it safe. But great cinema isn't safe. It's daring, challenging, revolutionary. Orson Welles didn't just create a great film, he reinvented what films could be. That Oscar? It belongs on Kane's mantelpiece, right next to Rosebud. If you're tired of Oscar history getting it wrong, subscribe to VintageVerse. We call out the real winners. No crowns, no fluff, just cinema that actually matters. Stick around.